I'm going on my walk right now, and I just wanted to tell you it's important to remember just to do whatever you can do, and just be okay with that. I think that's an important lesson to focus on. Only good morning. Focus on only what is possible in your life. Sorry, I just passed somebody. It's so important to do that. I think we have imaginary. There's two things that sort of focus or that go on in your head. I guess there's one sort of thought of, I can't do this thing, it's not possible. And then we have another thought that's, I can do everything in 24 hours. And those two are completely misaligned. And I think that they're somewhat both delusional. I guess those two thoughts, at least these are the thoughts that I have. I don't know if everybody else has them, but in my head, I'm assuming if you're listening to this podcast that you have similar thoughts, and they equally play up your mind, I guess, right? So, by the way, if you don't know me, I am Professor Dave Maslach. I'm Associate Professor of Innovation, Strategy, and Entrepreneurship. I created this whole Reciprocity project to give back as much as I possibly can. There's so many people that help me out that I wanted to pay this favor forward to help you out. So, it's important to remember that both of those are somewhat delusional, and they'll play with your mind a lot, right? So, on the one side that, people assume that you can't do something. I think this is the vast majority of the people in the world, and we kind of get stuck in where we are, right? We don't necessarily see that we can sort of move out of our situation. We don't want to. We don't quite understand that there is those possibilities out there, or opportunities that are available. And most people don't necessarily, they don't sort of progress in how they're doing, or they're just happy. And then on the other side, there is the I want to do is, I can't do everything in the 24 hours kind of thing. And I think those are actually very much related when you think about it, because you might have a lot of gumption in a day. You may have this thought of like, I can do this thing, and then you go do it and you discover you can't do everything in 24 hours, or like it just does not work out, right? Like you do a really poor job of it, and then you don't feel like doing it again. You're like, I can't do this thing, I'm a complete failure. But you have to realize that most of the stuff just takes grinding amount of work for a long time. And if you can get to the moment where you're sort of at like a slow burn, where, I can't remember where this sort of analogy or this thought comes from, but a slow burn, instead of like roaring up really hot, you got your furnace really hot, and it's like glowing red, and it's kicking off all this heat. What you want to get at is like, that will burn through all of your fuel very quickly, right? Rather, what you want instead is this slow burn that's kind of a little bit smoldering, that will keep you warm all night. That's what we used to do in my cabin growing up. We had this old, it was turn of the 19th century, one-bedroom cabin that we all seven of us used to be in, my family. And, sometimes it'd be real cold there because it was the Canadian North. And if you put it, you fill up that fireplace that was in there, man, it would get so hot. It would get stinking hot, but you don't want that. You want it to be, at night, what we would do is put some wood in there, and actually try to put what's called a damper that would slow down the burn, slow down the oxygen, and kind of seal up the holes a little bit in it, so that it would kind of more smolder and kick off heat the whole time. And that's kind of where you want to get at, is where you're not, roaring, and you're just kind of, smoldering throughout the day. If you did that for a long, and the reason why you do that is because it will last the whole night. And you want to do that because, in your life, because it's just going to last a lot longer and give you opportunities to grow and develop. But also, we forget that, a huge portion of this is not you, it's your environment. And so you need to give your environment some time to adjust to what you're doing and the opportunities that you're pursuing, which is pretty difficult for all of us. So I just want to remind everybody that getting to that moment where you're neither kind of giving up on yourself, but you're just continuing to go through it, I think it's a healthy thing, and try to get to that, and just have those beliefs going forward. I think that's going to help. So with that, give me a thumbs up or leave some comments on the podcast. All right, take care. Have a wonderful day.